Thank you. Councillor Cordover.
Thank you. As I think I mentioned, so my feeling would be to actually vote no on this one, and I know that that's probably, not necessarily a popular take, but I'll just explain my reasoning briefly. And I think myself and potentially Councillor Fox kind of alluded to this before, that the training, when it comes to code of conduct implementation, the training is about training, it's not about retribution or punishment. So retribution or punishment, which I think is a perfectly valid thing to have in a code of conduct process, that should be, whether it's to censor a person, whether it's to, remove them, whatever it might be, but the punishment is the punishment, and I think the training is not the punishment. So to impose a financial cost as part of training, I think, is blurring that line and making training... Punishment shouldn't come in the form of training. And I think it's... I just feel like it's a disingenuous kind of thing to try and, as a disincentive for bad behaviour, to say, beware, we're going to give you training. I think everybody would do well by undertaking, compulsory training to learn the code of conduct and to learn about how to be a good representative. But I don't think that it should be used or, weaponised as, well, beware of getting a training thing put on you because you'll have to pay for that. And the reason I think that that's a risk is that people will then spring to getting the very cheapest, worst training that's available, of course, because they have to pay out of their pocket. And so it just perverts the incentives, I think. The purpose of training is to improve councillors' capacity to be professional and to undertake their role in a responsible way. So I just feel like adding that punitive element to it is not actually within the intention of what the purpose of the training was about. That's my feeling.
Thank you. Just to clarify, the training that is asked by the Code of Conduct panel is to be approved by LGAT in any circumstance, so it can't be just a grab out of the box.
Okay, that makes sense. And I think...
and I think Dr Stevenson would like to add to that.
Just a procedural point, because you're a new delegate, wearing my old hat, because Kingborough put this motion forward, if you don't move it, the expectation is that you would move it, so if council changes their mind, you would have to withdraw it.
Thank you. Could I have a show of nods of we are still going forth with this? Councillor Wass, did you want to? With a yes vote. I'm moving now to item 12.1, renewable energy project developments on Crown land. It was my intention to vote yes with this one. Councillor Cordover.
Thank you, Mayor. So on this one, I thought I have it ticked in pencil as a no for me personally, and okay. The reason for that is about my concern around giving carte blanche to ignore environmental consequences of renewable energy projects on Crown land. I think the way forward is to be cautious and to tread carefully, and this seems to me a very blunt approach to, if I just read the decision sought, it's that the LGAT will lobby the state government on behalf of all councils for the implementation of a statewide policy to make suitable Crown land made available for all types of renewable energy developments to support social and economic benefit. I think it's a far more nuanced thing than that, and I did have a read of the Renewables Tasmania draft renewable energy coordination framework from the Department of State Growth, and it does make for good, albeit broad, reading. I think there's a general, generally, obviously, renewable energy is a good thing, and this transition is taking place, but I think it's a very blunt way of describing it to say that we should just open up all Crown land, and that's why, particularly because of my environmental concerns around that, and we're already seeing some of this contention emerge in various parts of the state. I think we need to tread very carefully, and it may not even be the role of LGAT to actually be trying to get the state government to make these broad swathes. Why do I say that? Each individual council area is very different, so Kingborough's environmental values among the community might be very different to those on West Coast Council or anywhere else. I don't think a one-size-fits-all approach is correct for when it comes to giving up Crown land for any purpose, whether it's for renewable energy or any other purpose. I think we just need to tread very carefully, and that's why I felt that this should be a no, personally.
Thank you. Councillor Midgley?
Thank you, Mayor. Councillor Cordover and I had a conversation about this afternoon, and I do agree with him, but also in regards to what he has shared, I don't feel it's a decision that we can make without actually having more information provided to us. And again, the role of LGAT in actually making this decision, I think, requires more information.
All right. Well, with that, I've like we all have with things, I've got an open mind, so let me suggest then that we vote no. Are we all in agreement with voting no to it? No, hang on. Who wants to vote no? Just give me a show of hands. Okay, that looks like, I can't count. 1, 2, 3, 6. Yep, so we'll vote no on that. Councillor Cordover and then Councillor Street.
I was just going to ask if there's, if any staff member wants to give additional context that might help us grapple with this, and then I've got a few comments to make.
Dr. Stevenson.
Through you, Mayor. I think the motion is fine. I'd absolutely agree because we want to bring forward the review of the statewide planning provisions. We know there are a number of holes. The example probably isn't the best and only example. We know there are a whole suite of issues with the statewide planning scheme provisions that we're already seeing through Planning Directive 8, and it's about making sure that that 5-year review of those provisions is not delayed. So I think the motion as it stands probably works, even though it doesn't really relate to the example.
Thank you. And through you, Mayor, then on that basis, and that provides me with some great comfort because that was, I had ticked here yes, and my feeling is that no bad thing could come of this motion. I think it's a good, the intention behind it is clearly very good, even though it's, you know, somewhat disembodied from the background. I think almost the background is a bit of a red herring. There's greater issues here, so I would support a yes.
Thank you. Councillor Street.
Sorry,
Councillor
Mayor.
Cordover.
Thank you, Mayor. My feeling would still be a yes, because if it doesn't manage to get up, then what does that mean for talking about coastal erosion for LGAT? So I just think to have the agenda item there is, I'm happy if reading the room if delegation is better, sure. But I would prefer a yes.
Okay. I
don't want to lose it.
All right. Well, I'll propose a yes then, and I certainly will take that on board, and we'll perhaps get some advice from Mr. Dool ahead of the meeting as well. Whether there's anything of value that we could add to the motion, perhaps. Thank you. So that's a yes. Item 14.8, cost shifting. That LGAT lobbies state government to. I found this one a interesting one to have CAP management and weeds in the same motion, and I had to go back and read it again because it says state government increase the resourcing for CAP management and control of weeds, all in the one motion, which is going to be a really interesting debate. I was happy to vote yes for that. I don't know why, I don't know which council put this up, but Northern Midlands might have liked to have put this in separate ones, but I'm intending to vote yes. Thank you. Introduction of referendums. So 16.6, that LGAT investigate the option of the introduction of propositions or referendums for local and state elections, and that a mechanism for this change be initiated. I welcome discussion on this one because I have an open mind. Councillor Cordover.
Thank you, Mayor, and I spent some time pondering this one myself. On balance, my recommendation would be no, and the reason, what convinced me of that, is that this would be a significant departure from any established Australian legal or democratic framework, a departure from any of them. I also think that it's interesting that in the past, where there have been electoral polls, that they've gone with the people, which I'm very thankful for. So even though it's not mandatory, they have ultimately gone with the people, whether it's on height limits or, you know, at a federal level, the marriage plebiscite, for example, a marriage equality plebiscite. I think that because there are some areas, for example, when they've done polling to find that, you know, after particular catastrophic events, and I'm thinking now of the horrific event of the Bali bombings, they did polls of people, and the vast majority of people supported the death penalty in that particular circumstance. Now, had an electoral poll got up that was then mandatory, there's absolutely no discretion there if you pass this mandatory thing that says, well, now it's mandatory, when in fact, you know, these are nuanced issues that need to be discussed and deliberated. Long story short, I don't think that really, if anybody is going to lead on this, I don't think it should be the local government of Tasmania. I think it should be, you know, the High Court or the Commonwealth Parliament, or, you know, I think that it's probably not our not our place to start this. So I think that what gave me comfort was that on the times where it has been used in Tasmania, you know, building heights, for example, or with Sorel amalgamation, that in every case so far, so there's no real reason to change it yet. Were there an example where, you know, if marriage equality had passed in referenda or in plebiscite rather, and then the government had gone against it, well, maybe then there would be a reason to start agitating for it. But in this case, there's no reason that I can see to start agitating for it, and so I would say no.
Thank you. I'll put that I vote no. I thought that some of the background information, you know, and particularly the state government comment, it's not actually very clear what they're asking for. And so I would propose no, unless anybody has an objection. Everyone's nodding. Thank you. And the final item under LGAT is recognition of assistance dogs at 16.2 that that the state government lobbied for the inclusion of assistance animals into the Dog Control Act. And I think that's a no-brainer, and that would be a yes, that we would want to see that, because I do know that